Hey, what's going on everyone? So today we're on the Cyrusher Kommoda 2.0. This has some amazing new upgrades versus the 1.0. And we have the Ebike wagon here. Awesome little wagon here with 4-inch fat tires. I love the maneuverability of them on rough terrain. And this is a really sweet ride, guys. Really soft and comfortable. So really nice option here to be able to pull your gear around if you're going camping, or what I'm gonna probably use it for is a ride around and get wood for my fire pit. But I had this trailer loaded up with some camping gear, a hot tent and a hot stove and some different things, and rode it around, and it pulled the weight great. With the fat tires, it's a lot nicer than my other cart with the smaller tires. However, this one, the top is just a little bit narrower than my other cart by about 2 or 3 inches. And it still fit a 40-gallon tote, but it needed a little bit of modification or something put down on the base because it was a really tight fit and didn't sit all the way down. But pretty neat how it has a little compartment on it with a canvas cover and then the part on the side for longer items. But we're going to be taking this bike on a ride today, seeing what it can do, seeing how the torque sensor works, what speed we can get, what kind of power we have. So if you're interested in the Cyrusher Kommoda 2.0, stick around and see how it performs. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I do want to disclose that they did send me this for testing and review. But if you guys are interested in picking one of these up after watching this video, I'll put affiliate links and any coupons I can get down below. So check those links out. If you use them, it'll really help support the channel and helps me creating these reviews. And also leave a like, leave a comment, really helps my channel out with YouTube recommending my videos. And I need the help, guys. So thanks a lot, appreciate it. Let's get into it. So now with this torque sensor, this bike has a lot of control, very maneuverable. Right now I'm in pedal assist 5 with the wagon on the back. Gonna go up through the woods here, gonna downshift here to first gear, and very maneuverable up through here, even with this cart on the back. I'm not using any throttle, just putting in very little pressure, and the harder I press, the more power it's going to give me. Or I could just override it and use the throttle, which is a really nice feature. So just cruising around through here, this rough terrain, all these sticks. Let's see how it does. Up over some of these logs and stuff. Actually, a lot of downed trees over here, but doing great through here with these fat tires. Let's see if we can hit some of these logs. Very smooth and comfortable. Very nice. And that's why you want fat tires on a little trailer like this. It really helps out with this rougher terrain, these logs, sticks, and things like that. And what's nice about this wagon is you could take this off here, take this out, and then these sides fold down. So it's really compact. These wheels have quick releases on them, so you can release those. And then this entire bar comes out of this base for easy transport. But overall, really nice cart. It is a little expensive though on their website, like 550 bucks. So I don't know about the price, but as far as how it performs and maneuverability, really nice. And if you do opt for this wagon, it attaches pretty easily. You just have to take the nut off the one side here, mount this bracket, and then it just slides right in there, and then you run your safety strap around here in case something would happen. This would keep your wagon from flying off here. And the first thing I want to mention on the Cyrusher Kommoda 2.0 that I really absolutely love is the suspension on this bike. It's very comfortable, just like on their original Kommoda. And if you were lucky enough to get the deal that they had on those, I don't know if they were a closeout sale or what, but for quite some time last year, the Kommodas were on sale for like around 900 bucks, which was a great deal. But I don't believe they have those anymore. But the new Kommoda 2.0 is a little bit more money than that, but you get a lot more features. You get a bigger battery, you get a nicer headlight, you get a torque sensor, an air shock in the rear, and I believe it has a lot better adjustability in the display versus their original one. So a lot of nice upgraded features. And one thing that's great about the Cyrushers is that the seat height is able to go really low, down to 31.5 inches from the ground up, and then you're able to put it up to about 40.5 inches high to accommodate different size riders. If you haven't ridden a bike in a while and want your feet to be able to touch the ground for stability, this might be the bike for you. Now the first major upgrade on this bike is that it has a 48 volt 20 amp hour battery. The original Kommoda had, I believe, a 14 amp hour battery, so very nice upgrade there. And it's using a 22 amp controller down inside the frame there to power the 750 watt motor in the rear of the bike. Up here on the handlebars, you have a nice set of double locking grips. Next to that, you have your headlight switch and a horn button. Then your on-off button here, and then your pedal assist levels here. And you can adjust these pedal assist levels in the display from 3, 5, or 9, but there is no 7. A lot of bikes you can do 3, 5, 7, or 9, so they skipped 7. And honestly, with this torque sensor, you don't really need that many levels of assist, because the harder you push, the more power you're going to get. Has a really nice display here in the center, and you can also change your battery voltage in the settings from voltage or percentage. I always like to read voltage because it's a little bit more accurate. Over here on the left hand side, you have a half grip throttle, and then your 7-speed Shimano shifter, which leads down to the 14 to 28 freewheel in the rear, and it's using a entry-level Shimano Eternity derailleur to shift through those gears. Coming up the chain, we have a 52 tooth chain ring and a very nice large set of aluminum pedals. And then another nice upgrade here in the center is that you now have a D&M A06 air shock, so you can adjust the tension on that with a little bit of air if you have an air pump. And on the front, you have a preload adjuster on the left-hand side and a compression adjuster on the right. And this is an oil spring suspension on the front. I have a nice set of double crown forks on there, just like their original version, and a very, very nice big bright headlight on the front. That's an upgrade compared to the original Kommoda. And for stopping power, it's using a set of Cyrusher branded hydraulic disc brakes, coming down to 180 millimeter rotors in both the front and the rear of the bike. And what's nice is you have a little thumb screw here that you can adjust the tension or the pull on your brake lever. So if your lever pulls in too far for your brake to activate, you just tighten that up a little bit, and then it will make that lever grab a little bit further out. But don't go too far, because then your brakes will rub. The wiring on this bike is very nice and neat, has a wrap on the front, and everything goes into the frame. However, the one thing I didn't really care for is there's no grommets where the wires go into the frame. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but it would have been nice to see a little rubber grommet or something in there to protect those wires. Again, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but just something that would have been nice. You have a really nice adjustable stem here on the handlebars, so you can adjust those handlebars down or back if you're a shorter rider. So really nice adjustment for comfort. Has a very comfortable seat on here, just like their original bike, and a nice large rack in the rear for carrying your gear, with some rails down the sides for some pannier bags. It has a tail light in the back, which is also a brake light when you pull the brake lever. Always nice to see for safety. And it has a nice set of plastic fenders, which will be nice and quiet when you're getting rocks and things like that up in there. And they won't rust. Always a plus. Oh, and one last thing I almost forgot is this bike is sitting on a pair of 20 by 4 inch Chow Yang fat tires, and has a nice heavy duty adjustable kickstand on it. So overall, that's about it for most of the main specs and features, but I wanted to show you real quick in the display how easy things are to adjust. And then we're going to take this thing out on a ride and see how it performs. So to adjust all the settings in the bike, you just hold the buttons up and down here. That takes you into the settings. You can see display setting, and then you have your advanced settings. When you go in there, everything is very, very easy to decipher. There's no codes or anything you have to figure out. It tells you everything that's in there. There's your PAS range settings, so you can go in and change that from 3, 5, or 9. You have your 0 start setting there. Yes and no. And what that setting does is it allows your throttle to work at a dead stop, and if you select no, then you have to start pedaling and have to get the bike moving before the throttle will work. That'll be nice for new riders that aren't familiar with e-bikes. If you don't want it to take off when you accidentally hit the throttle, you're going to want to have that set to no. Power sensitivity, start strength setting, current limit, which is set to 22. I'm not going to change that. And then your display settings, you can adjust your wheel size, speed limit setting, background light setting, display units, auto off setting, which is how long it takes for the bike to turn off automatically. I like mine set to high because I don't like my bike turning off when I don't want it to. And battery display mode. And that's where you can change it from percentage to voltage. But let's get this bike out there, see what kind of speed we can hit, what kind of power it has. But first I'm gonna go drop this wagon off because I really don't need to pull it around empty. All right, here we go, guys. First test I do in all my e-bike videos. Throttle only up this hill. I'm in pedal assist 5, and we're going to see what kind of speed we can maintain. It's looking like 14 on GPS, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Pulled me up no problem. 7, about 7 to 8 miles per hour. My GPS is doing something a little bit odd. It seems like it's taking a little bit time to link up. But about 7 to 8 miles per hour up that hill pulled me up no problem with that 750 watt motor, 20 amp hour battery, 22 amp controller. And one thing I did not mention is that they do give you a 3 amp charger. So that's nice. You can charge that 20 amp hour battery up a little faster than a 2 amp charger. Still going to take quite some time to charge up though if it was down to almost 0%. Really nice on the brakes here though. Very quiet, very good stopping power. Hit the brakes here, and this is hard to do one-handed. But very nice on the braking system on this bike. And I'm going to show you how the throttle works down here. Very nice. I like the way it's set up. Oh yeah, I can lock these up easily if I wanted. And that's just one brake coming down that hill, which is nice. A lot of times brakes will start smoking when I'm going high speed like that down these hills, and don't want to stop you very good when you're only using one hand for the brakes. So now the throttle on this bike, I'm going to show you. I'll put it down to PAS 0. Obviously you have no throttle when it's in 0, just like a regular bicycle. In pedal assist 1 here, torque sensor is going to be very, very minimal power, give you really low power, but you have full power of your throttle, full speed of your throttle, even when you're in pedal assist 1, which is really nice. That's how I prefer torque sensor e-bikes to be set up, because sometimes whenever they cap you at 20 miles per hour, which is actually the legal limit with the throttle, sometimes it's hard to maintain that 28 miles per hour when you're trying to pedal. So it's nice that they allow you to have full power of your throttle, full speed of your throttle at all times. Now I am in 7th gear here, so you can see I'm pedaling slightly fast for 20 miles an hour. So that's one thing I want to point out. It would have been nice if they would have used an 11-tooth freewheel on the back, but that's something I can easily upgrade for around 25, 30 bucks. Might cost you guys a little bit more than that if you do it and you want to, because you'll have to buy the special tool to do it, but a pretty easy upgrade overall. I've done it on quite a few bikes in the past, made a few videos on it in the past, so if you're interested in checking out that, seeing how to do it, check those videos out. All right, now we're going to show you how nice the torque sensor is. Actually, I'm putting pressure on the pedals here and it wants to take off, so be cautious of that. All right, so right now I have it in 5. And you can see very, very minimal effort. I'm barely pushing on the pedals and going like 11 miles an hour here. But so even in pedal assist 5, you can go fairly slow. This is probably about the slowest you can go, because like I said, I'm barely putting any pressure on the pedals. But as soon as I start pushing a little harder, it's going to give me a little bit more output. 14 miles an hour, 15. So I noticed the display is slightly off. The display on the bike showing 19 and my speedometer showing 17. Might have to adjust that wheel size to see if we can get that a little bit closer. Actually, I'm going to stop here and try to turn that wheel size down maybe to see if we can get that speed to match a little bit more accurately. All right, so I turned the wheel size down to 23 inch. Because these are 20-inch fat tires, but you got to go from the ground up. I think it's a little bit more accurate now. Now my speedometer is saying 20 miles an hour, and my GPS is also saying 20 miles an hour. So if you get this bike, I would recommend maybe trying to play around with the wheel size. It does only go in 1-inch increments though, so if I went to 22 inches, it would probably be off the other way. Would have been nice to have like 1/2-inch increments. But here's these brakes again coming down this hill. And again, just the rear. Trying not to skid, but easily locks them up. But I think this speedometer definitely is a little more accurate now. Yeah, 17 on both, 18 on both, 19 on both, 20 on both. So yeah, pretty accurate there at 23 inches on the display setting for the wheel size. Pedaling a little bit up this slight incline, and what I love about a torque sensor is if you want to get exercise, and trust me guys, I need it after this winter. This is the first e-bike review I'm doing since basically since the beginning of winter. It's been a rough winter here, and very cold, very snowy, rainy or snowy and cold, miserable, bunch of salt on the roads. So I've actually had this bike for quite some time now, and finally excited to get out and start doing these reviews again on these e-bikes and scooters. Very nice ride so far. Actually, there's a hill over there. I wonder if I can go up that hill. I doubt it. That's a pretty steep hill. I think I tried that on the Varla going up that hill. It might be a little too muddy too. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty muddy. I don't think I'm gonna make it up that. I don't even think I wanna try it. Think we should try it? Let's do it. Gotta show you what to expect. All right, here we go. Gear one. Oh, it's muddy down there. Oh, nope, not gonna make it. Gear one. Oh, it's muddy down there. Oh, nope, not gonna make it. Definitely pretty steep. And I spun out at the bottom down there. I did make it up over that rock though. Whew, I could barely stand here. I knew it wasn't gonna make it. But yeah, pretty good. I did notice it felt like I had a little bit of a pedal strength there at the bottom. And that is one thing you're gonna wanna keep in mind on this bike. Is that the pedals do sit down a little bit low on this, just like it did on the original version. If you watch that video, I show you the same thing there. Tires are all muddy now, a little bit of mud in there. But the way the suspension works, that whole pivot point gets lower to the ground as the bike suspension compresses. So your pedals do get a little bit closer to the ground than some other bikes. But unless you're doing crazy stuff like that, you might not even notice it. Just something to keep in mind. But something like this, no problem. So something else I think you all should know is that this bike does not have tons of power off the start. So right now I'm in the max level, pedal assist 5, hitting the throttle here, trying to hold the bike back. Barely spinning tire there. So you can see full throttle off the start. Starts nice and gradual. So it's not going to throw you or jerk you off the bike. Pretty nice for inexperienced riders or just somebody that wants a very smooth ride. All right, here we go. Max speed with just throttle. Let's see what we can do. And then I'll show you the cadence in gear 7 at max speed. 25 and 25 on the bike display, 26 on the bike, 25 on GPS. This is just throttle only. 27 on GPS, 28 on GPS and on the bike, so 28 miles per hour with just throttle only. I'm gonna go ahead and start pedaling and see if I can. There's what the cadence is at 28 miles an hour, so it's a little bit fast. You're gonna wanna definitely upgrade this to an 11-tooth freewheel if you plan on traveling at higher speeds like this. 29 miles an hour. And if you let go of the throttle, you could see, oh, it's still actually maintaining 28 even with no throttle when pedaling, so very nice. That torque sensor is set up perfect. Still able to maintain a decent speed with that torque sensor, or you can override it with the throttle. And that's how I like it for when I get tired. All right, let's test the suspension out a little bit. There's some potholes here. Very nice. Very nice and quiet also. Don't hear anything banging around. Controller's nice and quiet in the frame. Everything seems really nice and tight. Woo. Ooh. Very sweet suspension. Over from Train Tracks. Ooh, that was a big one. Didn't see that one coming. Good thing I was hanging on with 2 hands. A little more on the suspension. Barely filling these bumps here. It's probably 2.5 to 3 inches here. A little less here. Very nice. Very nice and soft. Steepest hill in town. Let's just try some throttle first. See how it does, and then we'll start pedaling here. See what kind of power this bike has. Now, I don't know how many Newton meters of torque this has. I didn't see it on their website. And for context, I'm about 170 to 175 pounds here. So here's the steepest part right here. And it's not the quickest, but it's pulling me up, so pretty good power. Oh yeah, right up it, no problem. A little bit slow though, about 6 miles per hour. But not bad, right up it. Didn't even have to pedal. So, a lot of power, just not a lot of speed with that power. All right, everyone, here we go. Last hill before my house. And so far, this bike's doing really well. A little bit of loose gravel there. You guys got to watch out for that, especially this time of year, right after winter, with them salting and everything, and all the gravel and stuff that's thrown around. But no problem here. Now I'm holding the throttle, full throttle, while I'm pedaling up this hill. I'm in 3rd gear, going up at no problem. Not putting a whole lot of effort in. Now if I let off the throttle, I'm gonna have to put more effort in. There we go, I let off. Now this is just the torque sensor. And you can see I gotta work a little bit harder to get up this hill, but that's why I like when the throttle overrides the torque sensor, because if you get tired, just hit the throttle like this, and then you don't really have to put any effort into the pedals if you don't want to, or if you get tired. So very nice setup. Pulled me up, no problem. I'm out of shape. I gotta start riding more, especially after that long, harsh winter, not being able to ride much. All right, almost to the top here. Doing really well. Doesn't feel like it's limiting me with power, so that's good. The controller's not getting hot, not burning out. Now it is kind of still pretty cold day, as you can tell, still all bundled up, but didn't seem like it was cutting power, so held that power good. All right, everyone, there you have it on the Cyrusher Kommoda 2.0. That's how it performed. Honestly, there's not much I don't like about this bike, other than it not having grommets here where the wires go into the frame. And I would like to have seen maybe a little bit more power on pickup. Now, I played around with the start setting. You can adjust that. I didn't notice a difference when I was adjusting it up and down. It goes from 1 to 5, and it came factory set on 3. I played around with the settings, tried it on 1, tried it on 5. Didn't see a whole lot of difference, but that would have been nice if you could turn the power up a little bit off the start. But other than that, beautiful bike, very smooth ride, very comfortable ride. Nice size battery, being 20 amp hours, so you should get tons of range. The power seemed great, even though it didn't have a lot of speed with that power going up some hills. I'd rather have the power so you didn't have to pedal as hard, so that was pretty good. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see all of you around on the next one. Thanks for watching.